talk to a lot of parents and I talk about exercises to be done, you know, as an exercise so that your child, like, I spoke about what is prescriptive therapy and responsive therapy. So I give them like a prescription that, these many exercises need to be done these many days in a week, and this is how you move ahead. So, like, this is all about a prescriptive kind of a sensory diet. When I give this kind of exercises to parents, they tell me, but my child is settled. Why should I do this, deep pressure activity? But my child is calm. He sits in the class. Why do I have to take him to for a walk in the morning, before going to school? I spoke to one more parent and she was like, yeah, but my daughter sits. She faces, she writes from the, what is that, school blackboard. And she doesn't need anything like a fidget at in her feet. And she's absolutely fine, she's like any other child. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. But if you do these exercises, it would help you. And parents sometimes don't understand. And that's the reason I'm making this daily insight so that I can explain it so that it makes and gives you perspective about why I talk about front loading. So one is this where the children are settled, and let me give you another perspective where, kids are all disorganized, distressed, and crying, tantrums, meltdowns. Like there's a lot of stuff happening in their life. And when I talk about these parents, they call me, they mail me, they message me like an urgent thing, ma'am, it's urgent. My child is not eating, my child is not sleeping, my child is, crying. I don't know what's happening. Look at this video I want to share with you. See, he suddenly woke up, he started crying. I didn't know because he can't communicate. So, these kinds of messages also I receive. So these are like two sets. And when I talk to this second group of parents and I'm like, did you do front loading, And I'm not saying everything is solved by front loading. Huh? I mean, I'm just giving you this concept, but I'm just like trying to understand, trying to make you understand things from my perspective. That's what I'm trying to do. So when I say front loading, it means when your child is calm, does your child get sensory diet? When your child is calm, most of the times the sensory diet, the exercises, most of the things take a backseat, sometimes, things and concepts, not concepts, like you parents forget, oh, we were doing these exercises. Oh, yeah, but he didn't do it for the last 2-3 weeks because, and they just get, because the child is doing well and everything was stopped, and life gets us busy, we do get busy with so many things happening in our life, so that just goes away for a toss. So let me give you one more example and then I'll explain more about front loading. So there's this boy who I worked with and they did these exercises with the child. These were exercises from that class, the primitive reflex integration for emotional regulation. There are something called as movements, the rhythmic movements. So they did these rhythmic movements and this child was in a regular school in class 6. Child was doing well, he was comfortable, everything was going fine. And then they were like, oh, wow, he's sitting, he's listening, he's following commands, he's writing his exam, he's talking, he's speaking, he's communicating, everything has happened. So gradually the exercises were stopped. And they did not consult me for like 5, 6, 8, 9 months. Nothing, no communication, no exercises. And then because they were stopped suddenly, everything came back. This child stopped sitting, there were tantrums, lots of things happening. So I'm not saying that you have to do exercises all your life, but what I'm trying to tell you is we all need the concept of front loading. And front loading is, if I wake up in the morning, I go for a walk. Why do I do that? Because if life hits me with unexpected, uncertain events, I can hold my ground because I need to feel comfortable in my body and stay grounded. I won't be able to do that if I am not exercising well. So, if the child doesn't get the sensory diet and we wait, most of the times it's that way, when there is an urgent, oh my God, he's not eating, tell me what exercises do I do? And those exercises are done like 7 to 8 times in a day, 10 times in a day. And in a week, when everything is settled, everything is not even done just like once a day. And it's like, we don't have time. There are so many other things. I don't know if you can even relate to this, but this is the pattern that I see with parents who work with me. And I keep talking about front load, front load, front load, which means there are certain simple things that you need to do on a regular basis. Regular basis. And when kids improve, a lot of my kids, I can't keep giving them vestibular activities all the time. I can't, I mean, uh, you know, regular basis. And front load. There are so many other things. 10 times in a day and in a week, when of the times it's that way, when there is, I won't be able to do that if I am not exercising well. So if the child doesn't get the sensory diet and we wait, most of the times it's that way, when there is an urgent, oh my God, he's not eating, tell me what exercises do I do? And those exercises are done like 7 to 8 times in a day, 10 times in a day. And in a week, when everything is settled, everything is not even done just like once a day. And it's like, we don't have time. There are so many other things. I don't know if you can even relate to this, but this is the pattern that I see with parents who work with me. And I keep talking about front load, front load, front load, which means there are certain simple things that you need to do on a regular basis. Regular basis. And when kids improve, a lot of my kids, I can't keep giving them vestibular activities all the time. I can't, I mean, uh, they grow up. You can't give that proprioceptive, deep pressure kind of an activity. So these boys with me who grew up, they either joined. I mean, see, we worked on the sensory processing challenges. Okay. We worked on the primitive reflexes. We integrated them. They were good. The exercises were followed up. And then over a period of time, things got better. But these children benefited from proprioceptive. They joined a basketball or a football or they joined swimming, some or the other activity which gave them that uh, proprioceptive activity in a more socially appropriate, age appropriate. So, I mean, I don't know how else to put it, but it's like what everyone else can do. That's what the child is doing. I know of many boys, who want proprioception, so they're running marathons. They're preparing for marathons. They go for those practice runs. They are all proprioceptive activities again. So we all need that sensory diet. All of us also as adults, and so also our kids. If if and mostly that's what happens, when a child has a tantrum, meltdown, like, tell me, what do I do now? Tell me, how do I stop now? When your child is in the middle of a tantrum, we have to only hold space and wait for that emotion to transform. You can't do any exercise when your child is having a tantrum, you know. So if I get a call from school, the parent gets a call from school, oh my God, my child is not sitting. What do I do? Tell me something that I can do today so that tomorrow he can start sitting. No. So what I'm saying is, we keep front loading. We work on things well before, we don't, we keep doing the work, whatever the proprioceptive activities, and it could be going to the garden every day. Depends on the age of your child. How old is your child? So you're going to the garden every day, going to the park every day, doing the jungle gyms every day, maybe swimming every day, doing the therapies every day. And this is all like front loading. And then you're sending your child to school. So there would be demands on the child, there will be stress, but the body can take the stress. The stress will not land and break and shatter the system, but the child will be able to hold himself even if there's demand. That's what I mean by front loading. I hope I've done justice and I hope you've understood what I mean by this. Like, I think a few days back I spoke about certain things where burning out, I think, and if you want, put it in the community. I'll post that daily insight again. But we burn out because we don't exercise, we don't sleep on time. So are we taking care of the fact that our kids are consistently getting the exercises even when they're doing well, even when there are no behavioral challenges? That's when we need to do it most, actually, so that we don't reach those points where we're like, oh my God, that has happened. What do I do about it? You know? So this is not related to disorganization, because yeah, sometimes kids get disorganized, and that is a different thing. Here, what I'm talking about is providing that sensory diet on a regular basis. Most parents that I talk to, they're like, oh, you know what? There was a meeting, and then, I was out of the city for some tour. And then when I came back, I wouldn't work with my child, or there was a death in the family, or, we had to go for a vacation. And when we came back, whenever you are out of the routine, to come back into routine takes a lot of time. And that is where this front loading is needed the most. There has to be some kind of a sensory diet every single day. And again, not just in the park. As I said, it could be swimming, it could be basketball, whatever. Some kind of an activity that needs to be happen. And I'm not saying that takes place of therapy, because therapy will target something else. This will provide the sensory diet, the proprioceptive input that the body needs. And so the challenge is the stressors would not shatter the child's system. The child will not be fragile emotionally and will be able to hold himself up. That's what I mean by front loading. I know it's simple. I mean, at least I thought it was like a washing machine, but it's something very different and very, very powerful concept. So today is a Friday. And did you make your goals? Did you go through what helped your child? What didn't help your child? Did you reflect upon the last week? How was your last week? Did you meet this week with frustration, irritation, anger, jealousy, sadness, disappointment? I had all of these shades in this week, I had them all. But did you consciously become mindful, and you chose how you want to respond when you feel these emotions which are uncomfortable? How did you shift yourself? Did you win this week? Did you win your day? Did you achieve your goals? If you did not achieve them, what were the challenges? What are you doing so that those challenges don't stop you again in the next week? Every single day is important. We have to make it important. We all know, I mean, life is short. Making the most of life every single day. Let's grow, let's evolve each and every day. Thank you.